What's everybody? How you doing? Already messed up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Damage Report. Before I said what's everybody, I was so confident about how the show was gonna go. John Iadarola is out. I'm doing my part for the cause by filling in for him while he recharges, while he heals from being under the weather, which itself is the dumbest saying because unless we're in a helicopter, we're all under the weather. But don't worry, we have, despite my poor performance so far, an amazing show planned for you and an amazing co-host. You know her as the host of Rayyactions on TYT's Twitch channel. Rayy Vana in the house. How's it going, Ray?
Good. I'm super excited to be here. And I'm waiting for the moment where I trip up and make my first mistake as well. But you're off to a very wonderful start on Friday.
So good. This has been the longest week ever. Beginning of the week, we had a dog around here. We were dog sitting. That was an extra responsibility. We launched Nina Turner's new show, Power Hour. And just so people know the behind the scenes of it all, that show was not ready to be launched until about 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. The cutoff for Elements being in was 2:40, was essentially 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, but we did it a little late, but it all worked out. So thanks to all the members who watched that. That will be every Thursday at let me put this in Central Time because Rayyvana is here at 7 p.m. Central. And you do the math because the onus is on you to calculate what time it is for you, but it's members only. You can go to tyt.com/join to find out how you can join on the website. You can also watch if you're a member on YouTube. You can click the join button below. And then if you're on Twitch, just big shout out to the Elder Mind Pulses, the Obi Mom Kenobis, and all the folks who gifted a ton of subs right before that started to kind of get the word out. It is September, 20% off all new subs and gifted subs. So that's awesome. You got about 6 days or so left. Don't make me do a poem to find out how many days are in September. Oh, it's the first one, 30 days. So you got 6 days left to do September. Take advantage of that. We have an amazing show planned for you. We've got the Arizona audit and Trump. After news had come out that was not so good for him, he was still pumping it up about how awesome the results were, not knowing what the results were and that everybody else still knew it. I'm gonna give you my analysis of the Iron Dome fiasco that played out and continues to play out in the halls of Congress. Just a lot of people who are bad at politics. I'll tell you why, regardless of whether you agree with Iron Domes, defense spending, apartheid states, or anti-Semitism as it's being presented everywhere else. We're gonna learn a little something about just fundamentals of politics and timing. Hopefully, basically, I'll just tell you what I've learned, and everyone can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Some big wins for people who are delivery drivers in New York. Hopefully, that will permeate and the borders of that city and make their way to the rest of the country. So people who are delivering you food to eat, and you, if you're one of them, you can have a place to pee during your shift. Instead of in the food, as I would if I was mad that I wasn't allowed to pee on my job. Okay, so then also we've got some crazy preachers. We've got Charlie Kirk doing stuff. We're gonna have a real-time reaction to it. So we've got a lot planned for you, not just here, but also the rest of the day on TYT. Coming up, we've got after this, Dr. Richie is going to do Indisputable. Wozni Lambre is his guest, and you will be able to watch a full-length debate he did with Charlie Kirk. That is up, and I have not watched it yet. You can watch the hour-long version. It's kind of a cut down, and then you can also download the full-length hour-and-a-half podcast. That thing was, I think, supposed to be 45 minutes, and they went an hour and a half. So fantastically done. I hear there's some amazing moments in that. Galaxy Brain is on after that. You can, oh no, there's no Galaxy Brain today. We're shaking it off. No Galaxy. Oh, I don't know. It's Friday. There's a lot going on. So Galaxy Brain is on after that. You can watch it. That 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time slot is 1:30 p.m. Pacific time slot is pretty Awesome. Thursdays, you got Rayyactions. You got Fridays for Galaxy Brain. Then we've got the Young Turks today has, for first hour, Francesca Fiorentini is going to be presenting. You've got Cenk Uygur and Trey Crowder, the liberal redneck's going to be joining us. He's fantastically smart, super duper funny. And then second hour, we've got J.R. Jackson, Cenk Uygur, and Mark Thompson in the studio. So it's going to be great. And then after that, you can join us for Game Busters, because busting makes me feel good. Jordan is in Alabama, so it'll just be me and Brooke. We're gonna play some Jackbox games. If you wanna cruise by there, have a good time, do some trivia, and play some games, draw some pictures, and most of them can be inappropriate. There are no rules on Twitch. All right, with that said, Ray, are you ready to get into this amazing audit news coming out of the great state of Arizona?
I am so ready to stop this deal, absolutely.
All right, let's get into it. This is an amazing story that has so many stupid elements to it. And I am happy to spend the next few minutes getting into what exactly we all feel is the dumbest part of this amazingly, delightfully stupid story that involves cyber ninjas and audits that backfired. So just, lock yourself in. We've got backfiring audits. Trump sending a stupid email that he didn't realize was stupid at the time that he sent it. And then the inspiration from this to have a new audit launch will tell you where it is, what it's all about. And again, we'll find out which part of it is so stupid. So we start with the audit in Arizona that the cyber ninjas did. This is a wildly partisan audit. We'll get into the details of that. But the result of that Maricopa County audit, as is reported by the Arizona Republic, hand count and audit affirms Biden beat Trump, as Maricopa County said in November. So that big audit everyone was looking for totally backfired. Even though everyone was like, don't pay attention to this audit, it's gonna be totally, it's funded by a bunch of right wingers. Even that right winger funded audit proved that Biden won in Arizona. And not only that, here are more details on it. The 3-volume report by Cyber Ninjas, the Senate's lead contractor, includes results that show Trump lost by a wider margin than the county's official election results. The data in the report also confirms that US Senator Mark Kelly won in the county. And then just a little bit of background on this investigation and the audit. The Cyber Ninjas, which amazing, and their subcontractors were paid millions of taxpayer dollars to research and write the report by not by taxpayers, but by nonprofits set up by prominent figures in the Stop the Steal movement and allies of Donald Trump. But Cyber Ninjas CEO Doug Logan said that would not influence their work. The hand count shows that Trump receives 45,469 fewer votes than Biden. The county results showed he lost by 45,109. So very close, but it turns out he lost by a wider margin than that. So we'll get into Trump's reaction and delayed reaction and stupid reaction in a second. But Ray, what's your reaction to this?
Well, I mean, I know now that everyone who has been saying, "Oh, just wait till the audit's done. You'll see Trump actually won Arizona. Just hold on," is going to be very good faith now and accept the results of the audit that they've been hyping up, and concede that Biden actually did win in a universe that doesn't exist anywhere, because of course they're not going to do that. I'm sure they'll just double down. Now the audit was fraudulent. Now the audit was fake. You can't trust that. That's fake news. It's funny because it's just these people will never. There's nothing that could make them live in our reality.
Right. That's it. Well, yeah, because it's the ultimate like decision point for someone watching this, or like a cynicism test. Is there's definitely people who are living in an alternate reality, but the folks who are leading this movement are like, no, my reality is the same as yours. I just need to convince a bunch of people of something else, and that's exactly what it is. And there's things that will kind of that you've already seen that prove that. Like this audit, the thing that everyone's like, just wait till the audit, is after 60 some other lawsuits failed. Those things that they said, we've got the receipts, we've got everything. The telethon by Mike Lindell that he was gonna unveil like a bunch of data from this Scantron tests or whatever the company was, the Dominion voting machines, all of that. They've been hyping and hyping and hyping, and it's been failure after failure after failure. And this one, where let's think about it. It's not funded by an independent group. It's not constitutionally part of their process. It's Trump's roll boys hired more Trump roll boys under a name called Cyber Ninjas, which seems like a joke. And maybe they were like, I think someone else said this, cyber ninjas, they're Asian, they're good at math. Like that's the kind of racist thinking that I don't doubt was at the heart of it. Like maybe they're good, and still all the things, they're the best laid plans of mice-brained men failed in this situation, and it's fantastic. But it gets, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to meet the one guy who found the results of the audit and was like, well, I've been fiercely advocating that Trump is the true president and just wait, he's gonna take office. This is gonna prove it. Who's like, well, all right, I was wrong. Biden's the president. Cyber ninjas proved it to me. They must be smart. So I've been hyping them up for months.
Yeah, and that's thematically linked to like the person who was waiting for FDA approval and not emergency approval on the vaccine. Like maybe they exist out there, but like that's me giving way too much of a benefit of a doubt to people when they're saying that I should take them at their word. That's absolutely, positively ridiculous. All right, so it gets worse. So Trump, in the background of this, as the lead up, everyone knew that today was going to be the day that they dropped this audit result. Now, news of what the result would be dropped the previous night through a leaked source and kind of gave away the game. Trump, among all of this, was looking at other stuff in the news because he knows, regardless of what the result is, that he has to kind of have that next grift fake goalpost laid out that he's moving it to. So the Democrats had kind of released all these subpoenas where they're subpoenaing people like Mark Meadows and other people on the right to find out what they were knowing what they knew at the time and how they behaved when the January 6th insurrection was going on. So Trump wanted to plan an email right before the audit result came out to kind of potentially move the goalpost to the next thing. But even he thought this result would turn out in his favor. So here is, as Media Eye reports, news broke at 10:30 p.m. of a draft report from Cyber Ninjas that confirms that the Maricopa County's canvass of the 2020 general election was accurate and that Biden did in fact win. A half hour later, at roughly 11 p.m., however, Trump released a statement through his Save America PAC. He says, everybody will be watching tomorrow to see what the highly respected auditors in Arizona State Senate found out regarding the so-called election. First of all, that's not what so-called means. You just say, you put so-called because the entire right wing has turned into one giant air quote. The so-called election with the so-called votes, the so-called. So stupid. So he was like, this is coming out, it's gonna be awesome. It had already been revealed that his homies said that he lost. Amazing, right? What do you think?
Dudes posting their L's online, honestly. Like, come on, you at that point knew. Or someone must have told him. I mean, although I understand, like people around him are probably very hesitant to bring him bad news. I can't imagine being the person whose job it is to be like, hi, President Trump, you lost real bad to Sleepy Joe Biden. Like you took a fat L in Maricopa County. Like no one wants to have to do that, but I'm sure he saw it, but still is out here like denying reality while also praising these the entities that are literally saying that, no, he took a fat L, he lost, he was a big loser.
It's so bad. Not even the Cyber Ninjas could save him. it's the like, I don't know. There's movies where people are in the desert and they try to scramble up sand dunes that like give way as you try to run up them, like, or like a landslide you're trying to crawl up in the meantime. Like that's what it feels like. Every time I try to like combat any of this stupidity by pointing out the stupidity, I don't know if it works, but I know I gotta do it. Like I gotta say, like, your own people that you hired, you paid the refs off, and still they're like, I can't even call this a foul. Like I can't do it. And the people in the cyber ninjas in the leaked draft basically said that, or a draft report said that they were not focusing so much on the results, but on the process that yielded these results, because that's the actual goal here. In an America where more people vote, and if given the chance would vote, even more of them would vote against these fools, they need to find a way to keep those people from voting. So that's why Cyber Ninjas is, if you see any reports from the right wing focusing on like, well, we got to change the voter ID process and the internal laws and rules of voting, that's why that's happening. That's why these weird audits are taking place, which brings us to the weirdest audit of all. There has now been an announcement that Texas is going to do an audit. So Trump, crazily searching around for like, I need another audit, one that I can win, complained about it, and Greg Abbott announced that they will be doing an audit of the election results in Texas. Now you're wondering, didn't Trump win the hell out of Texas? Yes, he did. He already won it. So this is the announcement from the Texas Secretary of State's office announcing a full forensic audit of the 2020 general election in 4 Texas counties. In Austin, under existing Texas laws, the Texas Secretary of State has the authority to conduct a full and comprehensive forensic audit of any election and has already begun the process of Texas' 2 largest Democrat counties and 2 largest Republican counties, Dallas, Harris, Tarrant, and Collin. For the 2020 election, we anticipate the legislature will provide funds for this purpose. So as opposed to the Arizona audit, which was funded by a bunch of randos, this one is going to be taxpayer money. So as much as Republicans say that the government is a huge waste of taxpayer funds, they are going to check the score to see if they won an election that everyone knows that they won. This is amazing. So Ray, what do you think about this?
I think that I'm gonna wait until the cyber samurais come out with their audit before I, take a stance on it. They're very well trusted auditors. It's just actually makes me think of this story about Trump that I heard where he would like golf on his golf course, and he like there was like a child golfing there with his dad. And Trump ended up golfing with the child, and like, the child beat him, but Trump had people like at the end cheating and walked away and was like very glad that he beat this child. And the kid is like, wait, what? And he's like, thank you for playing with me, son. Maybe you'll get a little better someday and you can actually beat me. And the kid's like, but I won. He just needs to stroke his ego constantly in any scenario. Like whether he's playing golf with a literal child or whether it's doing an audit of a state that he already knew that he won. Just they have to appease him somehow.
It's like on local sports stations when your team doesn't have a game that day, and on the West Coast we have this thing, Sportsnet LA, which is like a giant LA Dodger like only network, right? There's no other sports on there. And when the Dodgers aren't playing that day, they replay games, but they don't. If the Dodgers lost yesterday, they don't replay that. They replay a game from the day before so that Dodger fans can just watch their team win, even if that game isn't happening and it's already decided. That is exactly what this is. It's turning on ESPN Classic or Fox Sports DC or Fox Sports Mar-a-Lago to just watch a replay of your own win because you're that pathetic and depressed that you need it. You need that right now. as you're saying, golf. He was on the golf course yesterday. And he had people around him filming him playing golf and hitting a drive. We don't see where that drive went or how well he hit it. But he's like, do you think Joe Biden can hit a drive that far? It's like, let's go back to the exact experiment of a single ramp, like you going down a ramp slowly and Joe Biden running down a ramp. And already I hate myself because this is a stupid comparison to go into at this point. But like, we already have that experiment of like, also, I hate to break it to you, but if we're getting into athleticism, like your body versus his body, guy can wear the hell out of a polo and you need like, you're Donald Trump. I just hate it. Again, this is the, thanks. Now I hate myself comparison Olympics.
Trump was unironically doing Joe Biden. Now watch this drive.
Yeah, absolutely the best moment in politics. So good. And so just the genesis of this audit, the announcement came just hours after former President Trump, who carried Texas, demanded Abbott back a bill to launch the election audit in the Lone Star State. Quote, despite my big win in Texas, I hear Texans want an election audit. Your fellow Texans have big questions about the November 2020 election. Let's get to the bottom of the 2020 presidential election scam. This paragraph requires its own linguistics expert and cognitive psychologist to get to the bottom. None of those concepts track, right? They don't lead into one another. To get to the bottom of the scam, you already won it. If you're talking about a scam in something that you won, you're going to essentially be asking people why. You're basically admitting that you lost if there's a scam in something you won. But I'll tell you what the full scam is. The full scam is, like I said before, they're gonna go into these, so they own the legislature in so many more states than states where they won the popular vote in those states. So the way that the Republicans have worked since the Republican and basically this strain of political thinking has worked since the founding of America. And you'll hear people who are patriots, I've talked to them, who are patriots who say democracy is a bad idea because poor people have a say and they don't know better. And I know better. And black people, other races would have a say besides me, and they don't know better, and I know better. It's a feudal system that they want to create in America. And so what they do is they find ways to work against the concept that one person should have one vote. And once you look around, it's like Neo, you're just like, I see everything. You see that, there's states, a bunch of them, especially in 2018, I think it was. There's 6 states where there were more votes for Democratic representatives, but the Republicans got control of the state house in those elections. What does that mean? That means that after the census comes out, the Republicans can draw the lines, further solidifying their hold on everything. That is the politics. That's how it works. That's why they're doing stuff like this, so that they can have some BS justification to say, you know what? Here's another thing we found in the Texas audit, which cost millions and millions of dollars. Just like some BS turn of electoral politics they did in California, where they wasted hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars to do things with the express idea and intent of overturning the concept that because you're a citizen in America, you should have one vote. They don't want that because they know they'd lose. Everything is about that. And this ridiculousness, when you see it, you're like, you gotta know that that's what it's about. All right, we gotta take a break. We're gonna get into electoral politics, or we're gonna get into the basics of politics in a second. But we break for comments here, so let's respond to the Dragon Squad. All right, let's go to super chats. Daniel Velasquez says, I hope you get trashy there to feed for today's show. You got trashy there to feed for today's show. I don't have a trash can in this room. Instead, I've got a gift bag that is got other bags in it. So I don't know. I'm
the bag of bags. Everyone has the bag of bags.
That's true. Ted Cruz, Wedgie Dragon, says, so will every future election GOP loss be fraudulent? Wouldn't people eventually get tired of it? Also love the new house. Thank you. Thank the previous owner for loving really creepy bookcases. Thank you, Moon Dragon. Or Texas could spend that money on winterizing their power infrastructure. Nah, great point. Tara says, Sherbinko says, I hope John is better soon, but today is a great garbage day with Brett and Rayy Vana. Thanks to TDR and TYT for keeping me sane with all the craziness going on there. Mwah, mwah, right back at you. Let's CMK Music is Life says, Trump took the fattest L. So that, and it's so cathartic. Shout out to my GF Laura. Oh, that's so nice. But shout outs cost extra. Just kidding, he did it. Andrew Ullman says, dude, DeSantis is considering auditing the results of the Democratic counties in Florida. That's it. They really want to go after anywhere where they lost. That's psychotic. That is anti-democratic. And that is all the times when they talk about like communism results in all these losses of democracy. Like whatever you call it, what you're doing is exactly that.
Come on, Brett. You know that democracy only counts if you win. It's only real. It's only fair if you win. If you lose, then it's fraud.
Next thing you'll see the QAnon people say, democracy. DEMO. DEMON. Demoncracy. Demons.
Makes you think.
Coincidence? What is it? Interesting. All right. Jessica says, doesn't he who shall not be named have a rally in Georgia this weekend? I wonder why this new cyber ninja news, how the rally is gonna go. Again, as Ray points out, it doesn't matter the truth. They just keep saying terrible, terrible things. Thanks, Vanta Dragon. Red Cat, I would laugh my ass off if they found out after the audit that actually Joe Biden won in Texas. That would be amazing. Red Cat, that'd be so good. All right, we got a minute left. Twitch subs, Game Set John did use his own emoji, which is amazing. Good for him. Hype train happened. We got complete at level 5. Thank you for the 25 gift subs and a bunch of bits. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thanks Diamond Joker for the 5 tier 1 subs. Metal Kitty Mom out there, 10. Thank you so much. Jesper, thank you for the gift sub. I had a really good time talking to the Muskogee Library with you. Kathleen, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And then B-Flow Progressive, Trimu Batiki, Silvis, Radiant, Ken of Wolf, and Terry Berry, Silvis Swaps, Metal Kitty. Oh, with so many bits. Thank you so much. And then Keyjohn resubbed. Thank you so much. Oh, did I just delete a comment? 16 months, that's amazing. This time with the Drunkle, thank you for keeping us up to date with the news and helping us take out the trash. We will do that later on in the show. Let's get back to it, shall we? Roar. All right, welcome back. For those of you who are like, where did you go? Well, we break for comments. We read comments for 4 minutes. And if you saw ads, just subscribe and you won't see ads. All right, and that happens on all shows here at TYT. All right, this next story, I don't even know what to do about it. I haven't really planned how I'm gonna say it. I just have a lot of feelings, so let's get into it. In Washington, DC, there has been a lot of development surrounding this funding for $1 billion of Iron Dome defense. If you were paying attention like a day ago, maybe 2 days ago, you had heard that the progressives stood strong and convinced people to keep it out of the continuing resolution, basically the way for our government to stay open. They stuck together on Iron Dome defense. It was like the sticking point as it was presented in the media. As if you were watching the news, you heard that the progressives want Israelis to be bombed by Palestinians, okay? Again, this is me talking about how crazy stupid this entire story is. And so that was gone because the squad stick together. Now you look at the news today and you see things like this. The squad earlier this week leveraged the urgency of raising the debt limit to withdraw $1 billion in funding for the missile defense system for the Democrats' earlier spending bill. But today that all changed. The measure cleared the House in a bipartisan vote of 420 to 9. 8 Democrats and 1 Republican voted against the funding for the missile defense system. 2 other Democrats, Hank Johnson of Georgia and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, voted present, adding the voted present to this already stupid messaging fiasco on all sides and cynical crappiness of mainstream media is just that little cherry of I can vote present because people in DC convince themselves it means something different is also stupid. To add on to the stupid, Mark Rod reports via Twitter, Ocasio-Cortez, who changed her vote from no to present on Iron Dome at the last minute, this is like a separate situation, appears visibly upset, appears to be crying on the House floor in a hug with Representative Jayapal. Here is the video that accompanied that. Take a look, see if you think she's crying.
Designated by Mr. Lawson of Florida, pursuant to House Resolution 8, I inform the House that Mr. Lawson will vote nay on House Resolution 483 amendments. He votes nay.
As you could see, people below her on the stairs were slipping and sliding on all the tears that everyone totally saw. That's why everyone who was reporting was able to very confidently say that she appeared very distraught. Just as you could hear it over the loudspeaker, you could hear it, obviously. To add stupid onto that stupid, here's Meghan McCain's tweet about it. Theater and bad theater at that. This is Meghan McCain chiming in on the narrative that emerged from it, that after a present vote, some people were saying that it appeared AOC was crying. Something that I would contend didn't look like she was sobbing. She looked upset. Obviously she would be, but this is Meghan McCain, like once removed, like this is the derivative of the graph. Like she is commenting on as though AOC is like, look at me, I cried. And she's saying that AOC is a bad actress when that isn't even what really happened. More, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, a Democrat from Michigan who opposed the bill, called the Israeli government an apartheid regime and said the $1 billion represents, quote, an absurd and unjustifiable increase in the US funding of the Iron Dome. Just a reminder, the US has already provided $1.6 billion to Israel for Iron Dome batteries, interceptors, co-production costs, and maintenance, according to a 2020 report from the Congressional Research Service. Most of the funding for defense typically happens in a defense spending bill. So the fact that this is all in a continuing resolution is just inside politics. No one knows. I want to get into that later. And just to add dumb to dumb, here is what Rashida Tlaib said, followed immediately by what a fellow Democrat said about it.
We cannot be talking only about Israelis' need for safety at a time when Palestinians are living under a violent apartheid system and are dying from what Human Rights Watch has said are war crimes. We should also be talking about Palestinian need for security from Israeli attacks. We must be consistent in our commitment to human life, period. Everyone deserves to be safe there.
Mr. Speaker, we can have an opportunity to debate lots of issues on the House floor, but to falsely characterize the state of Israel is consistent with those, let's be clear, it's consistent with those who advocate for the dismantling of the one Jewish state in the world. And when there is no place on the map for one Jewish state, that's anti-Semitism.
At what point in Rashida Tlaib's statement did she say that we need to wipe Israel off the map? Nowhere. Your setup was completely different from your conclusion. So there's a lot of dumb happening. I do want to get into like fundamentals of politics and messaging and discipline in a second, but Ray, you seem to have a reaction to this.
One, I'm not gonna make the obvious joke about that man's name. I'm not gonna make it. Just imagine that I did. But quickly.
As a Jew, I'm a Jewish person. Deutsch, it means German.
That was the joke. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I know. In case you were.
One, I want to say it was, but yeah, the one I want to say, Meghan McCain, shut the hell up forever. Never speak. Keep your mouth shut. Delete your Twitter account. Wholeheartedly, no one cares what you think about anything. But I mean, the claim that what Rashida Tlaib said was anti-Semitic is just so inappropriate to make. I mean, she didn't say, all she said was that we need to provide relief and assistance for Palestinian people who are suffering immensely. It's gross to say that caring for Palestinian individuals is inherently anti-Semitic, like offensive. And she, as a Muslim woman, is usually, her and Ilhan Omar are the targets of those claims. They don't make those same claims about other white Congress people who use the same rhetoric and say that we need to defend Palestinians, or that we need to stop supporting Israel as they actively harm and occupy Palestinian land. I mean, I would go on as far as to say it's Islamophobic, or at the very least sexist towards those women. But I mean, just the disparity in the way that they are treated versus white male members of Congress who do not get that backlash is disgusting to me.
Right. I don't, it is important that I say it this way. There is a time and a place to talk about this issue of the apartheid state, as you want to call it, as some people don't want to call it, whatever, the Israel-Palestine conflict. If you are trying to pass a bill that gives universal pre-K, paid family leave, accomplishes the Joe Biden agenda, okay, what are we doing? Why are you doing that now? Okay, that is the stupid, okay? And I would also add, I don't even have full faith that when they were voting no on this line item of the budget, they were voting no on something that said Iron Dome, because message-wise, simplicity-wise, people like it simple. Deutsch knows it. Deutsch in politics, everybody is looking for, every time you see an interview with a politician, they get asked a question, they change to something else. They're changing to the easy, simple, gimme putt that they're looking for, that they know they can say very simply and easily, and that no one who's important in the voting block will call them out for, and as a water roiler. And this is one of them. That guy was like, I'm just gonna say, if you don't like Iron Dome, you don't like Israel. And the squad is trying to make this like nuanced argument potentially about like defense spending and apartheid states. And there is a time for that. And there is a way to do that strategically and effectively. Right now, it is malpractice for any progressive in politics to be saying anything other than what Pramila Jayapal's out there doing. She's going out and saying, hey, and she needs to do it better. She needs to say, the Biden agenda is everything in the bipartisan bill and the reconciliation bill that we're trying to push. So we want it all. You know why? Because we are supporting the president. Now, is that what they believe? Is that gonna make progressives super duper happy to say that we're supporting the Biden agenda? Obviously not, but we're smarter than that, I think. Like the same way that we think we can handle this like Iron Dome discussion and funding, we're also smart enough to know that this is the tack that you need to take in order to like say something simple enough that people like the Jake Tappers of America can be like, oh, that's right. That is a good talking point. The fact that there's this whole moment in time, like 2 days where we're talking about like Iron Dome funding, that's the one thing that they're gonna do. It's so stupid that they're doing it, but they're gonna say, all right, Iron Dome, you want babies in Israel to be bombed if you don't support $1 billion in Iron Dome funding. No one's gonna bring up that there's $1.6 billion we've already spent on Iron Dome, and this is less than that. It's just such a weird moment. And then to add it, AOC voting present, never vote present, vote yes or no. No one's gonna like you for voting present. It doesn't mean anything. And that is symptomatic of how dumb it is to do that. All right, we've spent way too much time on it. We got to take our second break before we move on, but yell at me at the comments if you want to. I hope you understand that what I'm saying is simply a tactical bit of advice. Democrats need to only talk about the kinds of things that remind them that voters are with them. Talking about defense, Democrats always lose. Even if you're right, Democrats always lose. Talking about social programs, economic programs, everybody loves that. More voters love that. So you need to be disciplined and talk about that. Anyways, I need to be disciplined and take a break. So we're gonna do that, talk about your comments right now. All right, that's what we got. Movement in the chats, subscriptions. I didn't want to spend that much time on it. We're already 2/3 of the way through the show. Moon Dragon's Nightmare resubbed with Prime. Thank you so much. Sharzan75, thank you for resubscribing with Prime. For an entire year, here's another month of Bezos bucks. Love the Dragon Squad. Rawr, fantastic. Metal Kitty Mom, thank you so much. Radiant Robin, Silva Swaps, Nina B, Postal Wench, thank you for everything that you're doing. Lucy Winterwolf, thank you. 1 month. It's 10 months that you've been a tier 1 subscriber. Woohoo, closer to a 1 year. Although I've been watching for ages. That's fantastic. A lot of good stuff. I don't know, Ray. Am I overreacting with this whole Israel thing? Is it too big a story? Am I making it too big a story? What do you think?
No, but my joke was douche. I felt like that was not about. I just didn't know.
Douche. Douche. I thought it was Deutsch because it was like it's tough with the German last name. He might be Jewish. I don't know. Oh, because he's a douche.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But no, I don't think you're overreacting. I think that AOC's really missed the mark on the messaging post vote as well. They're saying, the districts are being redrawn. She has a larger constituency that supports Israel. Okay, well then vote yes. Vote yes then. Because find me the person whose mind is changed by the audit. Find me the person who supports Israel in your district who was overjoyed that you voted present. That person doesn't exist. All you did was piss off both sides. It accomplished absolutely nothing.
It's so dumb. And that's like that. It honestly, from my perspective, this is the same exact like criticism I had over Force the Vote. It's just like yeah, why would this be the moment when you do that? Like Force the Vote, it was like Nancy Pelosi would promise that later on, after she has power to do whatever she wants, is gonna force a vote on Medicare for all. This is not the time to take. I mean, even if you took that swing, even if she was like, great job, it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen because you don't have a moment to force it. The force the vote time happened later when leveraging a relationship with Bernie Sanders, we forced a vote on $15 an hour minimum wage. It accomplished those things. Like, I'm fine with forcing votes. I love it. I'm just like, why is now the time and place when you're doing this? Yeah. And voting present is, and all of that is symptomatic that they just think themselves into like a crazy little box. It's just so weird. Nana Nikki gave a super chat saying, voting against financing the Israeli military is not anti-Semitism, it's pro-life. Yeah, we need to stop financing foreign wars and focus on fixing what's broken here, like bridges, dams, roads, and healthcare system. Yes, I would say like, yeah, thank you so much for that. We got 30 seconds. Trisha Briggs, first time hearing from Ray, love her. Ray, people can see you on Thursdays. Yeah, what time is it? 1:00 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern or Central?
4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central if you live in a real time zone. And if you live in Mountain Time, don't watch because I don't believe in that. Just kidding, do still watch.
If you're in Chicago, get some Blue Mountain Natties delivered. Hey,
Giordano's.
And Giordano. Thanks, Patrick Depew. Last night's SVU made a reference to Matt Gaetz. Interesting. All right, sorry, I have it up on the Twitch feed and I thought that was the monitor. So me pausing for a while was like, all right, it's weird that the animation plays twice. No, it just plays later on a different window. This is funny for those of you who missed the things earlier. Last night's SVU made a reference to Matt Gaetz as, quote, that Ken doll. I wasn't sure how to take that. Interesting. All right, let's just move on. A win for people who are your delivery drivers and feed you. All right, so big win for delivery drivers in New York City. And it's actually kind of sad that it's a big win because all it is essentially is a pee break. So the New York City's council members on Thursday voted to pass a series of landmark bills aimed at improving pay and working conditions for food delivery workers operating within the city. Here's what it is. The first of its kind legislation, which targets app-based delivery companies such as Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, will set a minimum pay, allow workers to keep more of their tips, and limit how far workers can be asked to travel for deliveries. It'll also guarantee workers access to bathrooms, so you actually will get a pee break. So that's it. This is the legislation was written in collaboration with LDU, which is Los Deliveristas Unidos, a collective of mostly immigrant app delivery workers. So there's that. In terms of the reception, how people are reacting to it, worker advocates say the New York bills, according to The Guardian, are a good start, but do not address some broader concerns about the gig economy in the US, and that more comprehensive legislation on a national scale is needed. So the big takeaway is that a government has voted on legislation to protect workers and start giving out rights to them that aren't guaranteed by the company. So that is a dynamic shift. There's a huge shift seismically in what's been happening. There have been some other votes. Maybe we'll talk about it in a second. But Rayyvana, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's a good start, although it is so disheartening to read that they're being guaranteed access to bathrooms. Like, holy hell. That's just basic human rights, basic decency. The fact that this wasn't already guaranteed to them just is so horrific, and they have to fight for basic workers' rights. And just it's a small victory, but hopefully it's indicative of more victories down the road. But God, is that terrible? These workers are so deeply mistreated.
Yeah, and exactly. This is one of those what year is it stories. Like, pretty soon, delivery drivers will no longer have to work in coal mines without a mask, like without access to daylight and oxygen. Like, that's the kind of thing. Like, you gotta pee, as Lenny Bruce once said, eat, sleep, and crap. Like, you gotta be able to do those things. And so this again, it's gotten a spotlight now. It should always have had a spotlight since these companies started to maybe signal at becoming ubiquitous. Also, there's a huge boom in this with COVID. Uber Eats, the food delivery segment of the ride-hailing company Uber, grew by 190% in 2020, adding 36,000 couriers in New York City alone. And we just wanted to get into some of the specifics of what the conditions are like for people who have these jobs. So in New York City, according to the Brooklyn paper, 5 food delivery workers have died on the job in Brooklyn over the past year. At least 4 were killed in collisions on the road. Deliveristas are now classified as independent contractors. Even though 64% of those surveyed said they work at least 6 days per week, with 33% working 7 days per week. Excluding tips, the median hourly wage for delivery workers in New York City was $7.94 in 2020, according to the project. The hourly net pay when including tips was still below New York's now, like since 2020, $15 an hour minimum wage at an average of $12.21. They also have to cover a bunch of expenses. I won't read them all, but like they have to buy their own bikes. They have to maintain their own bikes. There's no There's no equipment allowance or anything like that. And these companies have spent millions of dollars seeking other ways to protect themselves. So they don't want to pay their workers. They don't want to treat them with the same kind of protections that they were able to take advantage of that were afforded to taxi drivers, like through years and years of working for protections and whatnot. There was corruption in that, but still, like, these folks are working for you all day, driving, doing something that is very dangerous and feeding the nation. And those companies, like in California, there was a giant initiative to like, they did a whole what is it, like they voted in a referendum to just basically make it so that you couldn't treat those part-time workers as though they were human beings. And luckily that was kind of stopped by the courts. But Rayy, any thoughts?
Yeah, especially with like Prop 22, it really shows how, how little organized, and not necessarily organized, but lobbying power the drivers who are being mistreated have versus how much power these large, billion-dollar corporations have to spread disinformation, especially when it came to voting on Prop 22. They were able to say, hey, your prices of your food are gonna go up if we have to do this. The drivers actually don't want to be protected under these laws. They would prefer to be private contractors. And all of this nonsense, things that are not true. But when you have that much money to spend on billboards, when every time you want to confirm an Uber ride, you have to say, I will vote yes on Prop 22. When they're able to put ads on TV, however they're doing it, when any YouTube video you're watching has a Prop 22 ad in front of it, it just really, really shows that there is a massive disparity in the power between the workers and the corporations, particularly when it comes to protecting the workers.
Yep. All right, we got to move on to this next story. It's a doozy, so let's hear from Jen Psaki to kind of set the tone.
We feel those images are horrible and horrific. There is an investigation the president certainly supports, overseen by the Department of Homeland Security, which he has conveyed will happen quickly. I can also convey to you that the secretary also conveyed to civil rights leaders earlier this morning that we would no longer be using horses in Del Rio. So that is something, a policy change that has been made in response.
That is the White House press secretary Jen Psaki saying that we solved the problem with a Haitian refugee crisis, horses. Mr. Ed was a corrupt teamster, connected loosely to Hoffa in the transportation sector. So he's gone, and now the whole story's over. Rayy, you were reacting as that was going on. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, oh my God, the Biden administration is putting so many horses out of jobs. How horrific. Well, nobody is thinking about the horse unemployment rate right now. But it's like we've been screaming at a brick wall. Like we've been saying, hey, this is disgusting. The ICE and people at the border are treating Haitian asylum seekers like animals. Like subhuman individuals. They are whipping them and denying them access to, shelter, like relegating them to live under bridges, using the reins to like literally attack them. And the Biden administration was like, okay, yeah, we hear you. The horses gotta go. Like if no one asked, no one said that was like that. That's not our argument. Who were they talking to? Who was like, well, the real issue here is the horses.
It's amazing. Like we at TYT, not to brag, have a Getty Images account. And so we use it to go get photos that are used on, all these stories. You have photos like the ones you've seen of them on horseback at the border. You have Haitians making the harrowing journey. Other ones that you've probably seen on other telecasts of like frickin', they have whips, and that's the one that inspired this. But another photo is of Marine-like Border Patrol agents on a fan boat with guns. So they don't have the horses anymore, but don't worry, they've got like fan boat tanks that they're floating down the Del Rio Grande, pointing at people. Like, talk about missing the mark. It is weird, and maybe I'm being a little unfair, but what was amazing about this is the speed with which they essentially escalated all of this. We don't have a lot of time, so I do want to play in its entirety the reaction from Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary. So let's hear his reaction to it.
You've seen this video, you are investigating, but is there any reason why border agents would be charging at migrants in such a way that you are seeing children ducking out of the way?
Good morning, thank you very much for having me. Any mistreatment or abuse of a migrant is unacceptable, is against Border Patrol policy, training, and our department's values. Indeed, we have directed an investigation. That investigation is underway and it will be conducted swiftly, and the public needs and deserves to know its results. I also have directed that the Office of Professional Responsibility be on site in Del Rio full time. We will not tolerate any mistreatment of an individual.
So abuse and mistreatment not tolerated, is that abuse or mistreatment where you see children ducking out of the way, horses charging migrants, reins being used?
We are very troubled by what we have seen. We are going to let the investigation unfold very, very quickly, determine the facts, and then we will take the action that is appropriate based on those facts. The facts will drive the conduct that we employ to hold anyone accountable for a violation of our policies.
At a certain point, you're like, what is he supposed to say? But like the horse has left the stable. Like, it is already so far beyond. Like, they're probably gonna chalk it up to like, this dude had lost his mind, and he got, yes, you're right. We should not have rogue horsemen of the apocalypse riding and roping human beings anymore. But I don't know. We don't have a lot of time. But Rayyvana, last word.
Yeah, just the whole time I was watching that video, I was just mouthing, shut the hell up, because that is your policy. I'm sorry, I worked in immigration law. Like, I know damn well that these people are not held accountable for the mistreatment of immigrants. I know these cases quite well. No one is held accountable. It is very much, I mean, if not codified policy, it's accepted behaviors amongst not just Border Patrol, but ICE and more broadly Homeland Security.
Yep, we have a lot more, including Charlie Kirk's take, garbage people. That's the end of our linear broadcast. It continues on Twitch and YouTube. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get right into it. Charlie Kirk's the worst, and we're going to react to it. Okay. Charlie Kirk, whose head is enormous but face has not grown in proportion to it, is the worst human being on the planet, in my professional opinion, as a media analyst for about 15 years. And so he just delivered to us this amazing little gem that's a twofer of militarism and vigilantism on the one hand and white replacement theory on the other. So here it is.
I know so many amazing patriots in the great state of Texas, and I love Texas, that have been waiting and are willing for this moment. Deputize a citizen force, put them on the border, give them handcuffs, get it done. Sure, that's dramatic. You know what's dramatic? The invasion of the country. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk about how the other side has openly admitted that this is about bringing in voters that they want and they like, and honestly diminishing and decreasing white demographics in America. We're going to say that part out loud because so many people in the corporate media are afraid to talk about it. Charlie Kirk here. Check out the Charlie Kirk Show podcast. Be right back.
He even had like the Hassan, like, I'm going for it, or what? I'll say it. I'm going to say it. They're replacing white people. All right, let's just talk about the number. There's in the larger statement that he had, he's sad that there are 7,000 Haitians in America now. This mass invasion, the invasion and replacement theory, it's just so brazen and ridiculous as he looks out the window going, it's pretty dramatic to say that we should just send a bunch of vigilante whack jobs to the Texas border to do extrajudicial, what? I would assume at least maiming, if not killings. I don't know, Rayyvana, what do you think?
I can't like get over the fact that they can't vote. You have to vote at federal elections, and in most state and local elections, you have to be a citizen. When people come seeking asylum, they don't immediately become citizens. It's not how it works. But I mean, I don't expect someone as uneducated as Charlie Kirk to know that, and as bad faith as him to present that fact. But just at the end of the day, even if there was like demographic shift in this, who cares? Who cares? What are you losing? Literally, what are you losing? Nothing. Like bland food, okay, let's get rid of it. There's no harm in diversity. I'm sorry that you want unseasoned food for the rest of your life, Charlie. Some of us don't, okay? Diversity is good. It is a good thing. And we created the conditions that have ultimately destabilized Haiti before the earthquake. And now there's not a solid government in place to address the needs of the people. And so they're coming here to seek help. And seeking asylum is legal. They are not invading. They are going through they're literally doing something that is completely legal, protected by international law, supposed to be by United States law, and by human rights law. It's not an invasion. You're not losing anything. You have no reason to be scared, Charlie. Just shut up.
Yeah, I love that he says everything the exact same way. And dude, if it was that controversial, you wouldn't have to say it was controversial. You should have a little faith in your presentation. But I love that he says everything the exact same way. And he, like many radio people, pause because they don't know what they're going to say next, but they pause in a way that's for effect. So it's like, I don't know. I'd love to see Charlie Kirk like ordering at a drive-through. He's like,
let me get a.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the Big Mac and this is controversial. A lot of people won't say this, but a medium fry and a large soda. Most people wouldn't mix those two. Most people would supersize the entire deal. I'm not gonna do it.
It's the order that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know about.
Why are we making all the children happy with these meals? If it was a happy meal, there would be a American flag and an eagle inside. That's not a happy meal. That's an anti-patriotic, anti-Semitic Meal as his face just gets child size. And his
Each
head.
Happy Meal comes with guns and handcuffs and a ticket to the border to go do extrajudicial murder.
I love that you like, what a crappy invading force. Like, what an unintimidating group of invaders. They have plastic bags with to-go food in there. Like, they have children on their shoulders. What kind of beta-tastic whatever are you if that is the invading force you're scared of? There's children crying because they don't know what the hell's going on. And you're scared of them, you big wuss bag. All right, we're moving on to one of my favorite people in the universe, Kenneth Copeland. So good.
The time has come,
Hallelujah, Lord.
for ministries, particularly traveling ministries, to have some other method of travel
Yes, sir.
other than the airlines.
That's right. Yes, sir. Agreed.
You get into this situation, we're not going to let you fly unless you're vaccinated. Well, to me, that's the mark of the beast.
That's Kenneth Copeland, notorious owner of planes, trains, and automobiles that help him avoid traveling with the riffraff he's grifting off of. Basically doing one of my favorite moves so far of the pandemic. A lot of people have said, listen, they're using the pandemic as an excuse to take away your freedoms. They're using the pandemic as a way to get you to wear masks and obey and take weird injections with microbots from Bill Gates so he can tell what you're ordering on your Alexa. Never mind, Alexa. I hope she doesn't hear. But in this situation, his argument is you need to buy me a jet because COVID, Ray?
I mean, these pastors are so hilarious to me because it's like modern day selling of indulgences. Like, I'm sorry, Kenneth Copeland, 1495 called it once its indulgences back. Which is the same joke I make when Jenk says hashtag, but yeah, it's just it's absurd. Like they're grifting off of very gullible people who think that this is what God wants, or I know Copeland himself portrays himself as a prosperity Christian because we've all been misinterpreting the line from the Bible that says it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. What that it's been misinterpreted. What it actually meant was no pores past the pearly gates. No brokes allowed in my afterlife. You got to fork over your money or you're not getting here. You got to pay the toll.
That is why we are doing our give-a-thon, love-a-thon, victory-thon for you to give me enough money to buy the biggest needle that humanity has ever seen. We need a needle big enough. You also need to buy me a camel made of gold. So we can ride it through that needle eye into the pearly gates. That's what it is. So ridiculous.
I don't know who's better, him or Jim Baker. They are very, very competing for the worst televangelist.
Yep, Jim Baker had. We did this last week. Jim Baker had what's his name, Mike Lindell, Mike Pillow on the other day. And they were selling pillows with like children's art of Bible verses for a $100 donation. So good. I just want to for those of you, Ray explained what prosperity gospel is. And here is more information of what Kenneth Copeland is like on a daily basis. Take a look.
Associated Press said that Joe Biden is president.
Whoa.
I'm channeling John. Was like, I don't think that's what it sounds like when people laugh. I just don't think that.
That's actually the sound you hear when you die and you're not going to the good place. It's the last thing you hear.
Oh my God. Jesse Duplantis is another prosperity gospel person who you might have seen in the periphery of the first video that we saw, but he does take center stage to deliver this gem in the same event that we already showed you. Take a look.
I believe this, that the reason why Jesus hadn't come is because people are not giving the way God told them to give. You see what I'm saying? Wow. I mean, when you understand, you can speed up the time. I was on television. He said, I heard you was a millionaire. I said, that's not right. That's not true. He said, yes, it is. I said, no, it's not. Multi. Now, add that to it and you'll be all right. Oh, he couldn't handle that. He liked to have had a fit. And I said, you mess with me, I'll buy this station and I'll fire you. Yeah. Oh, he didn't like that, did he? You know, that was a little fleshy, but it felt good.
So bad. He's like, I'm a multimillionaire. That guy, by the way, for those who don't know, we did an old episode of No Filter on this with Anna. That dude got in trouble because years ago, he was asking for $54 million from his congregation so he could buy a jet, his third jet. By the way, Copeland owns an airport. This guy wanted a jet. And here's how he it's just so fun to watch prosperity gospel preachers when they kind of get caught and double down. Here is a clip of that piece from back in the day.
You know, I've owned 3 different jets in my life and used them and just burning them up for the Lord Jesus Christ. This is the very first plane that I purchased for the Lord. And then the second one I purchased was in January 2004. The one I'm flying right now, and it's been with me 12 years. I purchased it in January 2006, where I am. Now, I want you to get a shot of this one, Caleb. Now, this is the Star Trek Enterprise. This is where I'm going. Praise God, what I believe in God for.
Well, Brett,
good.
He's gonna hop in his heavenly plane and he's gonna fly that straight through the pearly gates. There's a little fleet of Jesus planes is gonna take me right up there. I'm gonna sit on the heavenly throne as God Himself, and that's what the Bible tells you to do. And if you deny that, then you have the mark of the beast.
It's so dumb. The mark of the beast. I don't understand. Everyone has vaccines. It's one of those where it's just like you got to sit back and enjoy the hypocrisy. By the way, when Copeland was asking people for all this money, on his desk were 2 Fabergé eggs, or Duplantis, 2 like thousands and thousands of dollars Fabergé eggs. Like, I feel like you're doing all right without me. All right, let's move on to the terrible use of memes by people in the Republican Party, and they just can't internet good. So let's do it. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene is so hip with it and with the times that she, took a page out of the book of a lot of people who use giant foam core signs when they're trying to make points on the when they're on the floor of Congress making their speeches. And she tweeted out this video of herself. Here's the tweet that she presented in. The Green New Deal would destroy our economy, kill our jobs, and decimate entire industries. It's an anti-America, it's an America last communist scheme that would only benefit the CCP. And it's inside the Democrats' infrastructure bill in Biden's $3.5 trillion budget. Here is the video of her presenting it. It's amazing.
I'm here to speak on behalf of the American people and how outraged we are at the policies of the Green New Deal, which are in the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill and the $3.5 trillion budget, because these policies are the most America last policies. As a matter of fact, they do nothing but put China first. Taylor, you can put up number 2 now. So we'll go ahead and address what these policies are that are so shocking to me. And if the American people actually knew what these policies are, these globalist America last policies are, I believe they would be ringing every single phone up here, probably demanding that Congress go home, because America is only safe when Congress is out of session.
Of all the things that you would expect to come up next when Marty brings up number 2, would you have expected the Scooby-Doo meme with "oh so very much wrong with it"?
Out of her, honestly, I'd expect nothing less. Also, it's just a dumb meme. Like, if you're gonna spend the energy to print out a massive meme to use for your political theater, make it funny. That's boring. There's tons of good memes, not usually coming out of the right because they are terrible at comedy, but that one just sucked. Come on, up your meme game, Marjorie Taylor meme.
It's so bad. Guys, that symbol underneath the Green New Deal rag is not China's. That's the Soviet Union's. That is gone. And when she says CCP, that means Chinese Communist Party. It is not CCCP, which is the way Russians write Soviet Union in their idiot Russian letters. That's an Archer quote. Anyways, it's so bad. It's so stupid. It's just so basic. Like, she doesn't know, and everything is China, everything is communist, and it just, if we need to reiterate to Americans, like the most Americans agree agenda if Americans are asked questions about what they think about what they want for America, stuff in the Green New Deal is in it, and stuff that Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to do is not. You can't even phrase a question correctly so that most Americans would say that they don't support positive green energy initiatives. Like, you just can't phrase it. That's why you never see those kinds of things on their foam core. No matter how they try with their machine, they can't do it. That's why they have to bring out stupid memes. I just want to say, for good measure, this other meme by Joni Ernst is absolutely fantastic. We're just going to play it.
The scenario reminds me of this popular meme of a guy playing Uno. A single dollar. Uno.
It reminds me of what my son calls popular and what my grandson calls meme, a nice meme.
I like how she just declared Uno at the end. She just stopped. She was like, Uno. What? How do you have so much power? How are you where you are?
That's it. That stuff I did a sketch that I think we played over and over again in our ads of Simon Simonson of Simonson Signs, which is just, that's it. It's that move to print something out on foam core for your crappy PowerPoint presentation that only seems to connect to 7,000 year olds. Like as much as they try to protect like the 7,000-year-old traditions of America, they're doing it. It seems like they're doing more of an insult to what America stands for by just like having a foam core print out of a meme. It's so stupid. All right, we don't have any time left on the show. We're gonna move on to garbage people. Rayy Vana, who's going first, Sophie? Rayy Vana is gonna go first. All right, it is that time of the week where we gotta take out the trash. All right, it is garbage people time. Rayy Vana is here. Who do you want to put in the garbage this week?
It was a tough choice. There's been a lot of horrible things this week, but my garbage person of the week is Joseph Robinette Biden, AKA Sleepy Joe, for continuing to enforce Title 42, like the story we talked about earlier, deporting people seeking asylum without a hearing or guaranteeing them their rights. It was a Trump administration policy that leading up to the election, they were campaigning against. They were saying, you have to go out vote for the Democrats because of kids in cages. But I believe the Biden administration has used this policy to deport about 600,000 asylum seekers, refugee seekers, immigrants, whereas during Trump's presidency, it was around 400,000. So the Biden administration has ramped it up while also lying through their teeth about the reasons why. So for those reasons, he's got to go in the trash.
Very well chosen. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Again, that just points me out that like when people were starting to complain under Trump about like open borders and Democrats, I just go like, Obama deported like over 10 million people. And Biden's back and he's on track. You know what? To just deport a ton of folks. So it's all fake on all sides when everyone's signaling as to what they think is the virtue that they are supporting. I agree with you. Just say, hey, I'm just like Trump. I'm just like Trump on this. Or be a decent human being. Choice is yours. Well chosen. I'm gonna go with, for my garbage person this week, General Michael Flynn. Reinforcing that just because you're a general doesn't mean you're good at stuff. Here is what he said about vaccines and salad dressing.
I mean, I gotta put, somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing or salads. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Have you seen this? I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the bizarro world, right? This is definitely the bizarro world. So there's the seriousness of what this professional realized he was doing wrong, and he's now, he's found a new way. And then there's just the laughability on the other extreme that these people are seriously thinking about how to impose their will on us in our society, and it's
take away your freedom of choice. They know better.
So it's going to be in your salad dressing. Just know that. Probably in your French dressing, because France is also bad. I prefer freedom dressing. Just bringing back all those lazy ass things. This is one of those things where you like, do I have to look it up? Is there an actual thread of truth to what he's saying? Apparently, the fact-checking site Snopes found that Michael Flynn's rant might have been an indirect reference to an ongoing preliminary study about growing produce that could contain mRNA measles, mumps, rubella. No, mRNA vaccine material without needing to be deep frozen. And essentially it's happening at the University of Riverside, where they're gonna look into whether or not they can do something like this in the future, where instead of getting a shot, you could eat something that could deliver immune capability, immunity boosts. But he goes on that show, which is just a Zoom call with writing on the side so that he can say, oh my God, you're gonna listen to me? Toddler in a suit, like that other dude in the top corner just looked like a child wearing a suit. And if you open the jacket, there's 3 kids on each other's shoulders. That's what it was like. Guys, just because there's a study happening doesn't mean it's actually gonna happen. If you are afraid of stuff in your food that laboratories have put there, I don't think there's gonna be any conservatives speaking up about it. A lot of them typically are like, listen, if it can make the food more robust, I don't care if it kills people as long as the profit margins are increased. So all of it, there's not a single leg to stand on. We are rapidly running out of time. So what did you as the audience vote for as your garbage person of the week? Let's take a look at the results in the community tab. This happens every week on the Damage Reports YouTube channel. Oh my God, I gotta make other people go away so I can read this. Okay, with 6% of the vote, Governor Tate Reeves for a complete lack of leadership during COVID, and then basically trying to make a stupid joke that maybe if people took after him, they would do better. Michael Flynn only got 11%. You're telling me I'm an idiot for claiming that there are vaccines snuck into salad dressing. John Eastman came in, then the Texas restaurant owners for throwing out customers for wearing masks. Then John Eastman for writing a memo justifying stealing of the election. And then Ted Cruz is your garbage person of the week for pretending he doesn't know how racist Texas laws are. You heard about that yesterday on the show. Thank you all so much. Rayy Vana, thank